Welcome back to the channel, you beautiful people of Hexaco. We're going to hope that my voice is stable enough. We're on Starlink here, currently on the Hex cruise, just surviving out here. But the one thing that's keeping me hopeful, the one little bit of hope that I have left is the Phiat boys who have got on the channel today. These guys are changing the whole game. For anyone that doesn't know what Phiat is, it's a four-way protocol, and we're going to get into all of that and why it's so important for the Hex community. The coin itself launched about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So for anybody that has not claimed their tokens from the sacrifice phase so far, eligible to do so. But what's even better is that just yesterday, the protocol itself actually launched. So hop on over to check that out. If you're at your computer, follow along with us because we've got the best and the brightest explain why it's so awesome, how it works, and how if you're a hater, well, you're free to wreck yourself as hard as you want. So it's pretty fun stuff. I think when people actually understand the importance of this protocol, they're welcome, Dylan and Mr. Phiat. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having us, sir. But yeah, in case you guys didn't get that, because Coffee's connection is hit or miss. But yeah, we're the DeFi bank for the RH ecosystem. You can lend, borrow, and leverage, and also short a range of different currencies, right? So right now, if you wanted to, you could deposit, a stable coin or whatever you choose, right? And you can go borrow Hex, and you can go sell it on the market, and you can go short. That is live right now for the first time, able to be done, right? That's great. It has huge ramifications for everybody in the ecosystem. It really is a wonderful thing, right? And this is on Ethereum. Soon when PulseChain goes live, we'll have these tools, on PulseChain. And not only will you have the Phiat.io Aave fork, for the community, but you also have famous .io, which is the GMX fork, to leverage trade at your heart's content on PulseChain, right? So that's exciting as well.
Yes. So for people that don't know, first of all, I know my connection's probably a little bit laggy. I'm hoping that my voice comes in better than my beautiful face, but I can stop my camera here. Just hope that helps a little bit. What I want people to realize is that Aave and GMX successful protocol ecosystem, but unfortunately they only cater to the blue chip cryptocurrency itself and a couple of other mainstream coins, and they gatekeep as usual the Richard Heart ecosystem, that Hedron, Icosa, all your other things, even little maybe the anti-hex token that we all like to talk about. Now these are all tokens that you're now able to borrow and lend against. That means if you want to take out a loan on your Hex, you can take out a loan. You can borrow in any other asset. So for example, I can take out a Hedron collateral. I can take out an Icosa loan with Hedron collateral. When PulseChain launches, I can take out a Hex loan using PulseChain. And now people are going to use this all kinds of different ways. Some people are going to use it from leverage trading, taking out a long or a short position. Borrowers, the lend themselves rather than the lenders are going to be fees, and as well as the Phiat stakers, the PHIAT token stakers. You basically are the casino. You are the house. And if there's one thing, it's people's endless stupidity, trading. And so me, although I don't plan to use the protocol for shorting and longing, and guys, I don't give financial advice, right? I don't tell people what to do, but I do feel pretty confident telling people what not to do. I feel pretty confident telling people not to short anything, no matter how smart you think you are. Lest the market humble you, right? And it will humble you. But if you think you're smarter than the market, be my guest, Hex haters. Go ahead and short to your heart's desire or to your wallet's capacity. Basically, if you're just a little old guy like me that wants to stake Phiat token and earn a percentage of all platform fees, I think right now the Aave protocol is pulling in about 8 TPY for Aave stakers, and that's pretty damn good, right? So this token's worth looking into, if nothing less, just for the staking and revenue form. They didn't sell out to venture capitalists. They didn't sell out to any pre-sale. Even the founders who own a percentage of the tokens, they're locked for a year. So they can't dump on your head either right now. All the on the fiat chart right now, it's all your own fault. So there's literally no point your finger at other than retail. This truly is one of the most open, retail-friendly games in town. So it's everything that was good about Aave, and bad stuff from Aave is kind of fun, right? You guys collaborate.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful thing, right? And there's many ways you can use this protocol. For instance, right now, the borrow APY on HEX is only at 1.3%, right? So theoretically, if you wanted to be a smart person and arbitrage the APY that you get as from being a HEX staker, right, and the APY that you're paying to borrow HEX, there's a spread there. So if you borrowed HEX right now off of Phiat, and then you staked it for short stake, I think you would make like a 9% APY staking HEX, whereas you'd only be paying a 1.3% APY to fund that loan, right? So you could arbitrage that as we speak. That's an available opportunity for anybody that wants to do that stuff, right?
Guys, this is so awesome. I hate to interrupt you, but
yeah.
Would either Buck or you, Dylan, would you guys be comfortable pulling up a visual walkthrough watching right now? Can follow along what the protocol actually looks like?
Yes, I can.
I would pull it up, but cruise life.
No, you're good, man. Let's see.
So are you in your cabin praying that you're gonna run into an iceberg in the middle of the Caribbean? Because
fingers crossed, man. full Titanic on this bad boy. I would just swim to the Bahamas.
How would the ship?
Hold on, I got a nice hat for you guys. 1 second.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Is it the Richard hat? Yeah, there it is. It's the Richard hat.
Ahoy, sailors of the crypto markets.
Better.
Oh man, that's great.
Well, these guys bring it to you. They especially Buck has been working on it super hard, and it's awesome. It's nice that you guys were able to release it on Ethereum first, because I think it gives a lot of people that hopium hit that they needed in this boring ass drawn out bear market. Along with the PulseChain delay, it just gives people a little taste of what's to come. Imagine Phiat.io. Imagine this platform right here on the screen, but with also PLS and PLSX and all that jazz.
Oh, I'm having connection issues as well. There you go. So
I think we're okay.
As you can see, this is the things you can deposit and borrow at the moment, right? And like I was saying earlier, if there's any people that are arbitrage guys, right, you can go and arbitrage the APYs between Aave and Phiat, right, for the stable coins, or for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then you can do it with HEX, whereas you're making 9% APY for a short stake or something like this, and you're only paying a 1% APY to borrow this stuff, right? Just one of the cool things you can do. Now, as the platform grows, you can deposit your HEX and borrow stablecoins against it to say, start a venture in business, whether it's crypto related or whether it's in the tangible world, right? You're more than able to do that as the platform grows. With Hedron, a great use case for borrowing Hedron at the moment would be to bid on auctions instead of like say you might find it a little risky to market buy Hedron off the market. Okay. Instead of market buying Hedron, you could just deposit some stable coins or Ethereum and go borrow Hedron to go bid on some auctions, right? And this, just keep in mind as well, side note, this just launched today. So the numbers you see here are relatively low, naturally, right? And this is done deliberately. It'll start to grow in the coming weeks as we get more users and as
one thing too that people might not know is a lot of the sacrifice money that was raised up front was not in fact used to line the pockets of Mr. Phiat, but rather to provide initial liquidity. I mean, these guys have not sold a dime of that stuff, and it's all to help the protocol get to bootstrap liquidity and adoption. Essentially, I see Shiba making an appearance there. That's very interesting. One now that I'm thinking about all the rich HEX millionaires now, one potential strategy I could see is you could take out a giant USDC loan and then put that to work in other stablecoin protocols, earn 0.5% APY off of your stablecoins in other things. What is it? Those deep stability pool, a year in finance and other things. So, I mean, think about all the millions of dollars in HEX value that exists that could not have been put to work in other DeFi protocols until now.
That's true. For instance, just I believe yesterday, somebody on Twitter, I think it was Lark Davis, right? One of his arguments for why HEX is not real DeFi was because nothing supports it. Well, now HEX has a dedicated Aave fork that supports it 100%. So, hey, the gatekeepers' walls are slowly crumbling down as we speak, which is fantastic.
Shout out to Lark Davis. Cheers to you, buddy. You're my favorite. Larky boy, kind of putting him in his place there. People are going to invent reasons not to join the rich system, but the more fleshed out it becomes, the more tools that we have that everybody else has. We're basically just building it ourselves because nobody gave it to us. So
that's right.
Buck just said, "Screw you guys, we'll do it ourselves." Same with everything. Liquid Loans team. We're building this parallel system DeFi because no one's going to hand it to us. So whatever, we'll make it better. We'll take what works. We'll take what doesn't work. I see these APYs seem very, very low. Do you ask for much longer?
I don't think so. Because like I was saying earlier, other platforms have higher APYs at the moment, right? So the arbitrage exists if one was to take that leap, right? So you can arbitrage the APYs between Aave. You can arbitrage the APY with HEX staking, with Hedron staking. I don't believe Shiba has any staking, but yeah, you can also arbitrage the Ethereum APY and the wrapped Bitcoin APY across Aave as well. And then I believe we'll have the PHUX token, which is our balancer. That should subsidize PHUX. That's
okay,
how.
Right.
That's how
I
like
can't possibly understand how anybody would misconstrue that.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? Yeah, its spelling is very precise, right? PHUX. Some people may pronounce it as fucks, but I like to be a little professional, so I pronounce it.
Oh, and also one other shout out that might be wondering if they have claimable fiat right now. You can go over to fatty.io, PHATTY, and you can go check whether or not you sacrificed. Go check right now. I think 14% of all claimable fiat is still unclaimed. So if you're going to dump your fiat, go do that right now, folks. Dump it, and let's get this party going.
There you go. Good point. Coffee. Yep. So yeah, pretty much we're pretty happy with the amount of people that have claimed at the moment. Pretty much everybody has, which is great. There may be a few stragglers that probably never find, either they've passed away, they lost their keys, perhaps they're in some sort of deep coma, perhaps who knows. But a majority of the user base has claimed their tokens, which is fantastic. And you guys have a little under a year left to claim your eFiat. And if you don't claim it, it goes to the treasury. So, not so bad if you don't claim. But yeah, like I was saying, there's lots of different things that you can do with this protocol. I'll be making videos on arbitrage, how to use it, how to speculate with it, and things like that. But it's an Aave fork as it gets. It's pretty faithful. I don't have my wallet connected, but you can go to your dashboard and see the deposits that you have and your outstanding loans that you have open. Staking is pretty straightforward. You connect your wallet, you stake, and then you get a share of the revenue. At the moment, like I said before, the APYs are low, right? The TVL is low. This is deliberate. This is not, oh my God, nobody's using this thing, or oh my God, nobody's depositing. Well, it's in its infancy. It'll grow. Give it some time. And but yeah, it's coming along. I'm really excited about this stuff.
Hey, sorry guys, I got stream. Can everybody?
I got you.
All right, I'm back. Yeah. So I lost all my keys on a boating accident. Sorry, guys. Yeah. We've got a guy in the chat saying this gives vibes, and I want to tell that guy why he couldn't be more wrong. This is a decentralized protocol. So for anyone that lost money in Celsius, you basically gave it to Alex Mashinsky, managed it for you, and you kind of lost all your money. All right. This is nothing like this is decentralized finance, and this is a fork of Aave. All right. So understand what you're saying before you just speak. Sometimes people speak because they feel like they have to say something. Just learn about it before you just make accusations. All right. No Celsius here.
It's probably our fault though, because we probably should have said all this, to be honest, before we went into all the details about arbitrage and shorting things and all this stuff. Why are we doing what we're doing? Right. So the reason we're doing this is because if you think about an economy, the most basic thing that you need to have is a banking system. You need to have the ability to borrow and lend. Right. It's super important to everything that you do in an economy. And when you think about a cryptocurrency, and an L1 in particular, you're basically simulating an economy on the blockchain, right? So that's an inherently important part. Now, why did we have things like Celsius? And what are things like Celsius? They're shadow banks. They're basically weird banks that operate outside of the kind of normal regulated banking world, the FDIC world that you're might be accustomed to. And why were people using things like Celsius? Well, one reason is because things like Bitcoin don't really have smart contracts, and because you actually need a middleman to basically sit between you. So indeed, things like Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi, all these shadow banks that fell over were centralized. The same people who were using those things were also using Aave, and they still have their money. And that's because Aave is actually a decentralized bank sitting on the Ethereum blockchain. It's actually the success story and the antidote to the thing that the very thing that you're concerned about. And it's used in the very same way that those other things are used, except you don't have the ability for the SAMs or the Mashinskys of the world to commit fraud. It's all happening on the blockchain right in front of you. So this is a massive, massive improvement, and it's a very important one. So it enables a whole bunch of activity for whales in particular, not plebs, but actual very wealthy people, very techie people who can do flash loans and things like that, to kind of do the essential borrowing and lending activity. And yeah, we don't get HEX to $100 or $10 or even $1 without having these kind of tools available to those people. They can deposit against their HEX bags, their Hedron bags, their Shiba bags. They can borrow cash. Other people that want to speculate can use that to speculate, or they can use it to arbitrage things. They can use flash loans in order to arbitrage and produce more efficient markets. Right. That's what this tool is enabling. It's a tool for major users. It can be a little bit complex for people that are kind of new to crypto. That this thing is basically, to you who might be newer, just a bank, but a decentralized one.
Maybe I was a little too rude to the noobs out there, but I want to be clear that when Buck says this is a decentralized bank, that means when you're taking out a loan, providing liquidity to a lender, when you're being a lender, this is all decentralized peer-to-peer. So you're putting up your money into a giant, and the borrower this giant pool and pays the rate based on like the number of participants in the pool. It's all calculated by math by some dude named Alex, right? It's like and someone in the chat has a good point too. Every successful blockchain has a clone of Aave, and so they're just getting ready for the launch. This is a proof of concept that it'll probably end up being a legitimate platform for many years to come as well for anyone that wants Ethereum. But it's also going to be the premier Aave fork on PulseChain. So so hopefully, I know my mic sucks, guys. I know. I hope you guys heard that. The guys with good connection, continue.
Yeah, I heard all that. Yeah, so it's exactly right, and we want to have a beachhead in Ethereum because obviously Ethereum is going to be the Cadillac of blockchains for a while. But we're going to be in both places, and we're going to make sure that HEX and Hedron are in both places so that you guys can see them, and they're going to continue to exist on Ethereum. So we think it's very important. And the other thing is, I think there's naturally going to be a lot of skepticism about people in PulseChain. I think it's very important to have a place, a branch, if you will, on Ethereum, so that all those guys that might be a little bit skeptical will come to us and say, oh, actually, they've had a token on Ethereum now for a few months, and it's done pretty well. Protocol hasn't rugged. They've got CertiK audits and Solidity Finance audits. This is really well established code. These might be good people as far as crypto people go. I think that's a very important thing to have. It's an important step in the right direction for the community, much more so than people realize.
Sorry to interrupt, but I don't think this is either. A lot of people get weird about new up on the scene, and it's good to assume that a lot of them are vampiric in nature, want to siphon economic energy. Really, that Fiat rich, right? Like, start with HEX, start with Hedron, start with the blue chips like PLS, PulseX. This is a nice side bet if you want to partake in being the house and collecting some. It's another route for passive income, but it's primarily a vehicle for the people that are already high net worth individuals in this decentralized ecosystem. Like, even myself, something just clicked in my head where, shit, now I don't have to sell HEX. I can take out US and just make even more money with that in perpetuity. And these are how the people you are typically going to be your higher net worth people, $100,000 and up. I'm not recommending you as a noob and start shorting or taking leverage when you buy the coin and just hold the original coin at first. But when you want to create a full-on ecosystem, you need to replicate all of the services that traditional finance offers. And inter-savings accounts are one thing. That's what HEX fulfills in that product market fit. But another one is borrowing and lending. and Aave has had a proven track record. I think it's been unhacked since 2018 before they rebranded, right? So yeah.
Yeah, so it used to be Lend or something like that. ETH Lend.
So this is I mean, if you're gonna copy the premier, or if you're gonna copy borrowing and lending, pick the premier version of the code. And that's all Phiat is. So it's a tool for people to either lever up or take loans on HEX. But I want to ask, I guess this question is for Buck. When you say that this is what HEX needs to reach $10, $100 one day, can you get into that a little bit more?
Yeah. So there's the element of, leverage is important in an economic system, but it's more about maturity as well. Like if you don't have a Uniswap, HEX doesn't go anywhere, right? You need to have all these different DeFi primitives that are going to basically help you achieve your goals, right? So you need to have stable coins, right? So I think a lot of what we're doing is about a sort of manifest destiny of where we're trying to go with HEX as a community. We're creating our own L1, we're creating our own Aave forks. We're gonna whatever Ethereum has, we can do better and have cheaper fees, but still have, unlike BSC, a really vibrant community of kind of average Americans. The kind of people that you're on your cruise with right now, right? That's something kind of novel.
I would say this cruise is average American, sir. This is too many high net worth individuals on this boat. I'll tell you that.
There you go.
Well, that's good. Yeah, you got slightly above average Americans, but I think that this thing is ultimately there in order to just fill a needed gap. And Richard's said it multiple times. Hey, DeFi bros, please go build this for HEX, right? There's good reasons why he probably wouldn't want to have to do this himself. It's incredibly hard. Somebody absurdly smart spent a year working on these forks, right?
I think people don't realize that this is part of, back in the day, Richard was going to build this himself if nobody else did it. So a lot of people's gut reaction is, oh, new thing bad. Oh, new thing don't understand equals bad. What would HEX be without Uniswap? What would HEX be without MetaMask? These are important things that you need to build the tooling around. And it's you can use a knife to cut your vegetables in the morning, or you could use a knife to stab another guy in the face. Like, it's a tool that a lot of people shouldn't be using, right? A lot of people should not be using this, but it also keeps people from having to sell the spot price of HEX down. And it also allows HEX to, if we find that there's a weighted short interest in the HEX pools. So if a lot of people think HEX is going down, a lot of whales can swoop in, liquidate all, and then HEX skyrockets a lot higher.
Sure. Yeah, that can definitely happen. And I think what this protocol also does is it just gives you a whole lot of options, to get in as a whale, right? So I think right now, if you go straight to MetaMask, you might start eating a lot of slippage, whichever way you're going. So now you have an option. You can go borrow, the HEX and sell it short first there, or you can leverage the HEX from the platform itself. So there's just a lot of different options that this enables. And in your normal financial life, you have no idea what banks do with your money. But they basically take it and they lend it out to other people, oftentimes businesses, and all sorts of different activities, and that's part of the kind of U.S. financial system. It's a very useful thing to have. So now when people want to start a business or something like that, they're not going to need to necessarily have a sacrifice for it, right? Or something. They can just go and basically put their HEX stake up, borrow against it, and now they've got free cash flow, right?
Thank God. Sacrifices.
I know that sounds hypocritical, but just an example of what's possible there. So one thing I wanted to say as well, the team is not dumping on anybody. The team doesn't own any of this token, as a matter of fact, as it turns out. The core team has.
Well, it says on your website it's made by hexagons for hexagons. Like you're not. Yeah. I mean, look, you could pretend that Buck is lying, or you could just choose to, if you can't beat him, join him, right?
We'll own lots of the token on PulseChain. It's just on this occasion we actually own 0 of it. So this thing is basically just my gift to the sacrifice set, who have been incredibly patient, and but I also think it's a good strategic move in the sense that it's basically going to hopefully make us look a lot more bona fide to the market, because we'll already have a proven track record on Ethereum when PulseChain comes out, and no one else will have that.
This will legitimize the whole ecosystem and make us. I mean, when people look at Hex, one that they make fun of is, oh, it's such a simple protocol. It's only staking. And if everybody else adopted Hex, it wouldn't be. But unfortunately, they haven't, and so we're making ours, right? It's just it fully fleshes out the ecosystem.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, as we know, we're kind of blackballed by a good chunk of the kind of crypto ecosystem, and that's unfortunate, but it's also an opportunity for us in the sense that we can go build all these things ourselves and kind of have them owned by community members, which I think is actually a much better thing. You don't want like I don't know, like some communist dictatorship rolling up into your suburb and running your bank. You probably want that owned by the community. Somebody that's under the local regulatory authority, right? Or like that's just
you don't want doing a drive-by shooting on your house.
Yeah, exactly. So I think having these sort of things are really great solutions. And one thing is this protocol is going to be hard to use for a lot of you guys that are smaller in wallet size on Ethereum because of gas, and that'll become immediately apparent when you use it, because you're going to need $10 or whatever to do basic functions, which prices out a lot of people. So Aave is something that you guys can't even properly use on Ethereum, and you'll really start to understand and care about how cool that makes this on PulseChain. And I think there's a lot of things that can't exist on Ethereum, like our GMX fork, just because gas fees are so high. So maybe Ethereum sorts that out someday, but until they do, we have a competitive advantage. I think I wanted to kind of make a couple points of clarification. APYs, things like that, we just haven't had people borrow properly yet. The market will push those towards sort of normal rates through time. So this is very early days. We've launched this protocol essentially with training wheels on it to make it extra safe. We will be slowly rolling those sort of gates off over time. But one reason we've done that is because Richard's threatening to launch PulseChain any second now. So we have to.
Please don't launch it any minute, Richard.
Yeah, so we have to take that threat seriously, particularly with the Hex and Hedron pair, because
that's obviously a good point. I didn't think about it from that, because you're gonna have to pull the liquidity before PulseChain launches, right?
Well, people are going to want to. So what we've done is we've basically filled up the deposit limits on Hex and Hedron. You can go borrow it and do whatever the hell you want, but we'll take that risk. We don't really want you guys depositing your Hex and your Hedron, right now, with the expectation that you're going to get a copy of it on PulseChain, because this protocol will break just like every other protocol with an oracle and whatnot. When that fork happens, and we will completely launch a new protocol on PulseChain. So yeah, don't deposit all your HEX into this thing or your Hedron, even though you can't really, because with that expectation, we will endeavor to make sure that you guys are notified and are able to withdraw. But yeah, for now, this is sort of a proof of concept with the HEX and the Hedron, just for that reason alone.
I want to reiterate that point. You can just it's like, people have to withdraw their liquidity off of Uniswap before the fork happens, or risk, being eaten up by the AMM bot. Just like people, same thing here, draw their liquidity off of Fiat, because Fiat itself isn't going to be simply forked. Like a lot of protocols, like HEX, the fork happens and you get the copy. With this coin, eFiat, it's not just as simple as fork and get the copy. They're redeploying the contract, meaning they're issuing a brand new contract, same code, same everything, but technically a new coin. And that's just because the way the liquidity pools are set up, it's too complicated to try to fork all these liquidity pools and keep track of who's owed what. So this is a proof of concept, but when PulseChain is out, the eFiat and the pFiat will live side by side in perfect harmony. But I want to get away from, guys, if people don't, for all of you guys out there that are forming an opinion within 2 minutes, take some time to slow down and read the documentation on the website before you come to a conclusion on whether or not you like this or you don't like this. Constructive criticism, but try to understand how it works. Make your decision slowly, right? And just read the website, read the documentation. But I want to pivot to talking about, and I want to go back to Dylan. Hexastani, sir, what strategies are you most interested when it comes to using Fiat personally, either personally, or what do you see as a good opportunity for some whales to take advantage of on eFiat right now?
Sure. So, there's lots of different ways you can use this type of, on-chain lending. I was mentioning arbitrage earlier, but there's a little bit more complex ways where you can, hedge risk, which is that's a great tool to have. Let's say you have a bunch of HEX stakes and they're relatively long, they're far out there, right? So emergency end staking would be unprofitable for you. Okay. And we're starting to get to a bubbly top at the bull market, and HEX has done extremely well, right? And you want to protect yourself against a little bit of, the downside, right? Because you have stakes, so you can't sell your HEX. Well, the next best thing you can do is open up, a short. On Fiat, it won't be a leverage short, but you'll be able to open up a short to protect against a little bit of downside risk. On Fame, that'll be much easier, and you'll be able to lever up much higher and use less capital. But nonetheless, you can do things like that with Fiat as well. You can do things like, say you want to provide liquidity. I know Coffee was saying that he was having a great time providing liquidity for eFiat because it was very lucrative. You can borrow 2 coins. You can borrow HEX and ETH at the same time and provide liquidity in the 1% pool and allow people to trade in and out of your position, and you can make a little bit of money in that sort of way, right? And pay your loans off and then keep the spread, right? A great use case for Hedron would be to borrow Hedron to bid on auctions if you do not want to purchase Hedron on the market at the moment, right? I think Alex mentioned this earlier, where some people are sitting in stablecoins, and they just don't have the conviction to be buying Hedron on the market to bid on some of these larger stakes, right? But they're more than able to go, deposit their stablecoins onto Fiat and borrow Hedron to bid on those stakes, to mitigate against that risk of, volatility in the market regarding Hedron, right? So that's a wonderful thing.
I don't know if this is the real Richard Hart, but if it is, I'm sure that statement, like, this is one of the infinity stones that he's never been able to get around to. So, Richard, if that's really you, thank. But yeah, going back, um, I am liquidity providing right now, and it's been successful liquidity providing endeavors. Yes, I can borrow even more and provide even more liquidity, but who knows? Maybe personally, maybe I'll take some of my LP fees, stake those, and just compare side by side and or APY. The house fee, the degenerates to me, or the trading fees paid by the degenerates. Which one will make me more richer?
Yeah, probably at the moment, you'll probably find that the liquidity pool is very lucrative rather than being a depositor at the moment or being a staker at the moment, just because, you know, this is the first day, man, you know. But over time, it may even out. It may be very similar. We don't know. But yeah, that'd be an interesting thing or case study, I guess, to follow, I suppose. But yeah, you know, there's lots of ways you can use this stuff. I believe somebody DM'd me earlier, you know, going over how they could long hex, right? So, you know, that would look something like depositing hex, borrowing a stable coin, and then buying hex on the market, right? That's completely possible for you to do now. So if you think it's the bottom and you want to lever up on hex, this is the way to do it right now. That's how you can do it, right?
What's the leverage that effectively that you could be taking?
So very low leverage. If you know how to code a flash loan, you can take on more leverage and get you know, get a little bit more risky. But you know, if you don't know how to do flash loans, you're just going to be sticking with, you know, something like, for instance, the haunted strat. You could lever up that way, where you know, deposit hex, borrow the stable coin, buy more hex, deposit it again, you know, borrow more stable coins. You know, you do that, but you're increasing your exposure to the price movement, and, you know, getting easier and easier to liquidate at that point. So, you know, you need to be careful when you do that.
100%, or yeah, a 100% leverage, a 1x levered position is relatively safe. Price can go against you. What is that? 99%. 1x.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more nuanced, but yes, you know, the lower amount of hex that you borrow relative to, or I'm sorry, the lower amount of stables that you borrow relative to your deposit, yeah, you know, the harder it is for you to be liquidated and stuff, obviously. So, like, say, you know, you borrow 20% of your LTV or something like that, then it takes a 5x in the opposite direction to liquidate you or something like this. So, you know, that's
you could
that's
take
what
out a 1x long. A 1x long at 3 cents would sound pretty good to me personally. Not financial advice, but I mean,
hey, you know, that sounds pretty good to me too. Shit, you know. But yeah, you know, like a lot of this stuff, it depends on what the market does. There's many ways you can use it. You know, also pretty cool if you have a lot of eFiat. You know, eventually you'll be able to borrow eFiat on the platform in the future. And, you know, if you wanted a discount on a loan or something to do some sort of arbitrage, you know, you'd be able to borrow eFiat, stake it, and then get a small little discount on your loan if you're levering up real big on some sort of position or something like that. You know, you can get pretty complex with this stuff. You know, so very interesting. Another way to use it is when Fame and Fiat are live on PulseChain, and you're leverage trading on Famous, and you have your deposits here on Fiat. You know, you can, you know, take out some loans and insert them into Famous. You know, to keep your position open if the market is starting to squeeze you out or something like this, or, you know, if you're trying to double down on a position or anything like that. You know, Buck mentioned this morning that, you know, there'll be a pretty seamless way to interact with both of these at the same time between the two websites. So that'll be pretty exciting as well.
Yeah. Yo, dog. I heard you like leverage, so we added a leverage platform to your leverage platform.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
GMX
so
has got a lot of attention as well. People don't realize that Famous is a fork of GMX. GMX is another so-called darling of the DeFi space right now.
that's
Also
right.
gatekeeping HEX, of course, but we've got Phiat. We got Buck Phiat, and he's leading us to the holy. Famous and Phiat and Fatty are three items in a suite of potential tools in the future. And I know you've got PHUX as well. I was wondering if you can give that of what that exactly is.
Yeah. So PHUX.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Buck.
Yeah. So just be careful with. I just want to clarify a couple things you said. It's possible that you can borrow against Fiat in the future. It's not something that I would guarantee or expect tomorrow.
Okay.
So those are potential things. Interoperability is possible in the future. It's also something I wouldn't necessarily guarantee either. Yeah, Furukambu, Gold Key, absolutely. Yep. Matter of fact, people are already looking to do that for us within the community. There's people DMing me about that exact thing.
What is Furukambu?
So I think
Furukambu is like a resource where you can build flash loans, basically.
Okay. I mean, it's the sandwich attack your own. Like you can build your own node with flash loans built in.
No, not that complex. Basically, you can do things like self-liquidation through flash loans or debt swapping or levering up.
Tool.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like, where you can build an MEV bot with this or anything like that. It's, you set up a flash loan and it has its steps, and then you can either execute the transaction profitably or it just won't go through. So really good tool.
Gotcha.
You guys should go look at it, and you can try and arbitrage HEX. They actually have HEX on there. So, you can borrow on, hopefully one day you'll be able to borrow on Fiat, but as of right now, you can go borrow stable coins off of Aave, try and trade between, like, say, HEX USDC and then HEX ETH, and then, swap back into stable coin and then pay back your loan. You can do shit like that. If you.
Yeah, triangle arbitrage between the two pairs. Pretty good.
So you asked about PHUX. So with yes. PHUX, that's our fork of Balancer, and if we don't have PulseChain imminent, we might look to bring that out in the next month or two as sort of the next shoe to drop for us. It's already done. It's very straightforward. It's very easy. So it's really just a matter of just going ahead and deploying it and whatnot. So that can be coming. I imagine the people that sacrificed and deposit and kind of do good things with Fiat. Are gonna benefit from that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Balancer, from what I remember, is just like liquidity pools. Like you can crowdsource. The good thing about launching all these things 4 to 5 years after they've been running is that you can inherit all the fixes that they've had for the many millions of dollars that they've lost along the way. I mean, you're basically forking at the safest time. Tomorrow will always be the safest time, and things can always, guys, but these have been battle hardened on Ethereum for quite a while.
And Balancer, is really interesting because it does a few things really well. It does stablecoin stable swap, so similar to what you see with Curve. So we're gonna be able to take all these new stable coins being built by the community and put them into a pool, which is interesting. So you can really efficiently move between them. It also allows sort of indexing of things up to 8 tokens in a pool. So, Gold Key's in there. He mentioned that, we haven't onboarded Maxi yet. One of the reasons we can't onboard Maxi right now, well, we could, but it would have to be a very small amount because the liquidity is not there. So one of the things we want to do is sort of fix that with the balancer fork, because we can put all those maxi pairs.
To try to dumb down what balancer is for people, and this is rudimentary, feel free to correct me, but a lot of liquidity providers manually inserting and removing liquidity all day long to adjust their strategies. It's as simple as 50-50, especially on Uniswap v3. And it's kind of an automation tool for people to adjust, to automate different liquidity pools, different amounts of based on the pricing between certain pairs or certain coins, to not actually have to be at your computer. For example, like if I set a liquidity wall with HEX and I want to make sure that that's all pulled out, I could use like a balancer tool to make sure that I remove that liquidity to essentially take the profit. Uh-oh. Am I still here?
Yep, you're good.
You're still here.
All right,
you're
cool.
not dead. You have not hit the iceberg.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, so kind of just what we're working on with PHUX is something that I think is going to provide similar kind of correlated cryptos, things like Hedron and Icosa and Polymaximus, single pools that can be quite large and can share liquidity and let them try and find a proper price. Like I'm one of the biggest holders of Deci and Maxi, so like I don't be offended, but like I think Deci should be higher in price versus Maxi right now. I don't think that's correct, right?
Wait a second, though. Maxi was burned. They have a Hedron multiple. I mean, I agree that Deci should be way higher. I understand why Maxi is still higher than Deci.
Well, and I think one part of the problem is we don't have very liquid pricing yet. So I think what we'll see hopefully is that if they're in a pool against each other, you'll start to see like a proper curve for what the different tenors of HEX stakes should cost. So yeah, and it's obviously a debate, right? But just having that tool will enable the market to kind of better decide whether or not they're correctly priced.
As an example, I've had some Deci single-sided liquidity up in where the ranges I thought it should have been at for a long time, and I just had to remove it because gold key, darn you had to give me another. You just had to give me more free money. So I had to withdraw my liquidity pool. Nicer to have a liquidity pool that could more accurately track the actual treasury value of Deci.
Roger that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And the great thing about the balancer fork is you can have up to 8 coins in one liquidity pool. So you can pair all of these maxi coins together, versus a stable coin or versus HEX as well. And they can trade amongst themselves and find a price, like Buck was saying, pretty efficiently. So we're excited about that. But yeah, just wanted.
And then Dylan, if you don't mind, if we just switch gears very quickly, Dylan, if you give me up fatty.io, I just want to plug it as well. We've been working hard trying to improve this. It's still in an alpha version. It's still in its infancy. But we've added a price feed, which I think is pretty important. Can you just hit the 24-hour there, Dylan, for me?
Sure.
So you see Phiat right there at the top, up 12.3%, and you see also HEX there with its proper market cap, 35 billion. We're gonna improve this, and then if you just scroll all the way down to the bottom, just so that we see who's at the bottom there. Yeah. Zen, the worst performing crypto of the last 24 hours. I just wanted to point that out to Jack Levin and friends. that we're on top and they're on the bottom. Anyway, Fatty has it's actually probably one of the hardest things we're doing, because it's actually a lot of detail and a lot of stuff. But we've added the price feeds. We've renamed bundles Whale Watch. So if you go to Whale Watch, Dylan, Whale Watch is where you can basically keep track of what everybody's doing. So if you go to PH Sachs, for example, you can see number 6 there. You can see one of our wallets there, and what's inside of it. We're obviously going to support PulseChain. We've built this tool for you guys. It's free. You can create your own portfolio.
Go back to Whale Watch. I want to see which whales are dumping real quick.
So yeah,
we can look at DL1 if you want. Shoot.
Yeah. Put up DL1. So this thing will get better. It gets better every little amount of every incremental time that we put into it. And we're getting a lot of community impact or feedback on things like that. We're pretty excited about having this. We want this to be your homepage, basically, for those of you guys that spend inordinate amounts of time in the community like we do. We want this to be where you come to get your price information. We're even going to have a media section as well. So we're going to have YouTube channels, thumbnails, and things like that pretty soon. We're actually working on it right now, so that when you guys are streaming and things like that, it'll pop up. It's the hardest work controlling crypto. I'll take that. I'm doing pretty much nothing. I just have really good partners that work their asses off.
I think what the whole entire team is doing, but you guys have seen far, Fatty, Phiat, Fox, whatever, famous. These are things that needed to happen. You guys took it into your own hands to do it. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to troll along the way, but these are real tools with a real use case. That are just completing the entire circle. So you guys should all be very excited about this. Go check out the platform. If you did sacrifice for Phiat, congratulations on the instant 6x on your money that you got. Instant. Like, I was so pleasantly surprised. That was just what I needed in this brutal bear market. I mean, yeah, we're coming out of the bear. Yeah, we're almost back to, it's kind of like 2019 vibes right now, but casual 6x is just what I needed. And to even be able to experiment with liquidity providing and advanced strategies that I'm now able to do that before were reserved for the whales. Live long enough to see yourself.
I want to prepare you though for PulseChain, and I might try to do some sort of partnership with Matty All-In for sudden wealth syndrome for Phiat sacrificers, because this is just one of 4 tokens that you're getting, and you're already up 6x. So, just I don't know exactly what this means, but this valuation implies that very good things are going to happen to you on those other ones as well, most likely.
To me, it implies don't dump it at a 6x. Like, if that's what you're starting off with, like, don't shake yourself out of. You don't realize how good you have it. And you might be sitting on many more X's than the 6x, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. So if you're a Phiat sacrificer, maybe start reading about sudden wealth syndrome, because seriously,
it's unfortunately coming to you, whether or not you like. I can't turn it off, right? Like, you're gonna be getting Phiat on PulseChain. You're going to be getting a massive allocation to fame for free, whether you like it or not. You're going to be getting PHUX. And I don't even know what could happen after that, honestly. So, just be prepared mentally and physically for the challenge of counting all these X's.
Yeah, I just want to say one last thank you to both you and especially Dylan, just for getting me in on literally the last day of this sacrifice and putting in what I was a small amount of money that ain't so small no more. So thank you
There you go.
guys. Buck and Dylan, are there any last words that you guys want to say before we hop off?
Thanks for having us.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go first. You know, just with Phiat, this is a slow rollout. This is a process. This thing's going to be around for years. So you know, we're gonna roll out in this protocol slowly over the next kind of few weeks. We're going to increase the risk. We're going to start going and talking to all sorts of communities, trying to get these fuckers to come look at our protocol and use it. And then ultimately they're going to find PulseChain. Look for PHUX probably then in maybe a month or two when the team's ready. That's assuming no PulseChain. If PulseChain, will immediately basically get Phiat up and running as soon as possible, and Famous up and running as soon as possible. So a lot of it's dependent on Richard. So yeah, be patient with what we're doing. It's working. I guess is the other thing I would say. Dylan, you have the last word.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter and on Telegram. You can follow the Phiat Twitter account at Phiat Crypto. You can follow me on Twitter at BB_trippin. If you have any questions, DM me on Telegram. And you know, my at is at Hexastani. Or just come to the Telegram and ask questions and at me. So I can help you out. But yeah, I think that's it, sir. Thanks for having us.
All right,
Coffee.
Thanks for coming on. I'll see you guys next time. Lest we cheat. Adios.
Lest we cheat.